Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In this video I want to cover another exciting project you guys have asked for, and that's Icon. Now Icon are trying to hyper-connect the world, as they say here, building a project, one of the largest decentralized networks in the world. They want to connect different blockchains, different apps, nodes, protocols. We'll dive into that and have a look at how they're going to tackle this problem. So just a bit of company background here. They're a company that fall under the umbrella of the Daily Financial Group. So one of the largest fintech companies in Korea and the world. They've got 600 employees and 25 companies underneath them, one of which is obviously Icon, but you're probably familiar with the Coin One exchange as well, one of Korea's largest exchanges. And they've been working on this technology called the Loop for the past 2 years with 3 top Korean universities funded by the Korean government. We know there's been a bit of friction between exchanges, ICOs and the Korean government there. So it's good to know that they did fund this project with a grant. We've got them on side. It's going to be a huge part that determines whether or not this project is successful in the long run. So let's dive in and take a look at this, the Loop part of the project here. So distributed ledger, trying to build a smart, connected society. So they're going for these private blockchain solutions, and that's something that's really important to remember as we move through this presentation. Smart contracts, loop fault tolerance based algorithms, so slightly different to proof of work and proof of stake blockchains, similar to Byzantine fault tolerance, which we've covered in Neo. It just is a different way for the nodes in the network and those different sort of blockchain nodes that are talking to each other to reach consensus. We'll dive into that later. So a tiered system with different rights and access in their governance model. And modular architecture. So we'll talk about how we're going to have everything from dApps and ICOs to entire blockchains, all hopefully being able to communicate that interoperability that they're going for. So inside Icon, let's have a look at the Loop chain here. So high performance blockchain that can provide real-time transactions, all based on these smart contracts. So the trade-off here, and what we've spoken about, is that they're going for an enterprise-grade blockchain solutions where only validated nodes can participate. So yes, it's capable of doing a lot more transactions per second and reaching consensus faster, but the trade-off is some degree of centralization. Now, Icon aren't trying to be a decentralized platform, and that's important to remember if we are going to compare it to those slower, fully decentralized blockchains, that they're going for that private enterprise grade blockchain and real world business solutions. So let's have a look at this visual representation here. So we've got entire blockchains that are all capable of talking through the Icon nexus in the middle here. So these C-reps, or these portals, these are the nodes that all communicate through this blockchain transmission protocol. So hopefully in the future we'll have smart contracts on Ethereum talking to Neo contracts and vice versa. Single apps can be talking to each other. Here's another visual representation, and one of the first examples that they're going for is that digital ID system. So a hospital might be able to talk to, a bank that can talk to your car, and the Internet of Things model, logistics, all these different blockchains and contracts running, but we have this sort of interoperability in this protocol that's capable of talking to each other there. So let's check out the team, and it's a massive team, an established business. You've probably seen Min Kim as the main guy doing talks in public and on YouTube. 12 years experience, guys. This is a huge team, plenty of experience, real world partnerships, real world businesses, an all-star team here, guys, for a huge project that needs a huge team. Obviously, there's been plenty of interest from investors, Pantera Capital, Token as a Service, Concilium. You've heard me say all these names before. Great projects attract this money and attract this attention, and it's good to see them having solid backers there. So as I've mentioned before, let's check out these Loop Chain projects, and one of the first iterations is this digital ID system. So we've got 26 Korean securities firms already trialing this chain ID this system. So I've spoken about how this can be used for insurance. So consortium of top tier insurance companies, banks, universities in Korea, hospitals, healthcare. So we know that blockchain is a perfect use case for this sort of technology. Rather than all working on the one blockchain, they can have their own private, separate blockchains or smart contracts that can all talk through that main connected Icon loop project. So blockchain interoperability alliance. So this is a bit of a handshake agreement between Icon, Aeon, and OneChain. So a lot of people have said that yes, these guys are competitors, or even Ethereum, Neo, all these other competitors. But the truth is that these guys have come together and said, we want blockchain to be a huge part of how the world runs. Why not work together? And maybe Icon is doing these private blockchains, and then other projects can have public blockchains, or in different countries. There's a number of reasons where multiple or all of these projects can succeed. Okay, guys, I really hate it when people say, oh, this one is better than this one, and that sort of thing. So great to see cooperation there from a couple of big names in the space. So the next thing I want to talk about is that governance model that I mentioned. So how do people reach consensus and vote on the future direction of individual blockchains or the entire ecosystem? And one aspect of what they're using here is this AI-driven policy. So Da Vinci Labs automatic modeling, and they're already using this in a number of instances here. So let's just have a look at some things here. So insurance loss ratios, credit risk, conversion rates, price sensitivities. This is exciting to see. It's scary for some people that AI will be making these decisions for us about the network and its future direction. Now, something that I came across in the white paper that you need to be aware of is that future inflation rate. So they've got upper and lower bounds here. It still remains to be seen exactly how this is going to play out, but I don't want 20% of new ICX tokens being issued each year, guys. So I want more information about this, see how it's going to work. But yeah, as a token holder, I certainly wouldn't like to see the maximum rate of additional ICX tokens being 7%, guys. That is a huge inflation. Now, what do I like about this project? Now, Korea has topped the list here of countries for the Information and Communication Technology Development Index. So this project is in the perfect country with the perfect team if they are going to tackle this problem. And they've already had huge interest. So it's a real world product, okay? We are waiting on updates, yes. We're waiting for them to, develop more real world partnerships and get more and more people on that chain. But yes, it has got a working product. It's not just an idea and a white paper. Now, as I mentioned, this isn't an open source, fully decentralized product. So their GitHub isn't really that active, but they're going for those private and enterprise solutions, as I've mentioned a number of times throughout this presentation. Now, may this change in the future where they really open it up and want plenty of developers contributing? Yeah, sure, maybe. But at the moment, that's not really their target audience. And again, I've spoken about how this has pros and cons. Let's dive in and take a look at a few of the notes that have come out of the recent annual summit. So 40 of those C-Rep nodes I've mentioned now across 10 regional areas. The homepage has had a facelift. I'm looking forward to this iconic blockchain naming service. So rather than sending your tokens to a long string of letters and numbers, you'll be able to send it to individual names and that sort of thing. So a lot easier to remember, similar to the Ethereum name service. So what else have we got to look forward to on the roadmap? Mobile wallet, token swap, that ICOs that are going to start to launch, decentralized exchange, that governance channel I mentioned I'd love more info about, smart contract improvement further down the line. So plenty of exciting stuff on the horizon. I won't read through all these apps and partnerships that are coming out, but there's a few exciting ones to read and get more details about there if you like, guys, on their Medium. So finally, tying it all together. Now, Korea has been a huge part of crypto. They're responsible for about 20 to 30% of daily trade volume. So this is a huge country that love crypto, and this is their first real blockchain that they can really call their own and sink their teeth into. It's not listed on any big Korean exchanges yet, so I think that could give the price a huge boost. We've also got to remember that, yes, to some degree, maybe Ethereum, Neo, Cardano, all these different projects, maybe they are competition. But again, as I spoke about, if there's interoperability, maybe they're all working together to bring blockchain to the world, to enterprises, as well as the everyday user. So again, it all remains on your mindset whether you think this is going to work together or whether you want Icon to be the sole blockchain that takes over the world, I guess, guys. So I think there's plenty to like about this. I love the fact that different nodes will be, connecting and communicating information from everything from those ICOs, dApps, individual blockchains, smart contracts. If they can really get that protocol working and allow for that communication between networks, guys, that's huge. That's what they mean by hyper connecting the world. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, guys. Please hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, share these videos around, and as always, thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.